It's not every day I get such intense entrance music to a room, so I do appreciate it. Damas y caballeros, mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Think Tank Shark Tank. Fabulous to be here. We are absolutely thrilled for you to be joining us today in person for something that's become a celebrated tradition on Atlas Network's main stage for almost 10 years now. And of course, a shout out to our viewers at home. We wish you were here, but thanks for signing in. This competition really does stand out from many of the other programs that we feature at our events. And why is that? Well, it may have something to do with your roguishly handsome MC with a great Australian accent, but you know, it may also have something to do with the fact that it's where we try to encourage the network to think outside of the box, to discover the next truly innovative, entrepreneurial and impactful idea to advance the cause of liberty. Now, I imagine that most of us have seen the wildly successful ABC television show Shark Tank. And what's so cool about that show is that some of the most simple products earn the investment dollars from the judges, and they're so highly successful. For heaven's sake, the third most successful Shark Tank innovation is a product called Scrub Daddy, a cleaning sponge with a smiley face on it. I may or may not own one of those myself. You know what? In the top 10 most successful products is the Squatty Potty. I'll leave your imaginations to what that involves, but why couldn't I have thought of that and made millions of dollars? But that's what's so interesting and risky about the business world. To many of us observing, it can almost seem too easy. You have a great idea, you can change people's lives, and hey, make millions of dollars in the process. But so much goes into the strategy, development, marketing, and management of turning an idea into reality. So not only do you need to have the right idea, you've got to have the right people leading the charge. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most sobering realities for us in the liberty movement. The cavalry is not coming to save us. It is up to us, the people in this room, to lead the charge as the first line of attack and last line of defense in protecting the ideas that we believe in: individual freedom, prosperity, entrepreneurship. And that's why it's so exciting tonight to have some of the best and brightest freedom movement leaders share their ideas for a better future. In front of you tonight will be three intellectual entrepreneurs with proven track records in our network, pitching their three new ideas on how they can improve and in some cases save the lives of people in their communities. They will each have just 5 minutes to pitch their project to our esteemed panel of judges. And when I say 5 minutes, I'm that guy who gets to cut them off if they go over. Not only that, the judges will have only 5 minutes to ask a series of probing questions to get to the core of their projects and cross-examine each of our contestants. As we break for dinner, our judges will then determine which project will be the winner of our 2021 Think Tank Shark Tank grand prize of $25,000. 25 grand, that's pretty good. Now, before I introduce our judges, I would like to acknowledge and thank the Smith Family Foundation for supporting our Think Tank Shark Tank program and the competition. You all preempted me with my request for a round of applause, so thank you for the spontaneity. I really appreciate that. Now I'd like to invite our esteemed judges to the stage. First up, we have Fred Young, an experienced independent investor. Come on down, Fred. Next up, we have Linda Whetstone, president of the Mont Pelerin Society. And finally, we have Arturo Brillenborg of the Brillenborg Ochoa Family Foundation. Arturo, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you are just as excited to begin the main event as I am, so let's get started with our first contestant, Basanta Adhikari of Vikalpa, an alternative from Nepal, pitching his project promoting economic freedom through youth mobilization. Basanta, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I start?
All yours.
This is my country, Nepal, a sandwich in between India and China with around 30 million population. It is one of the best touristic destinations in the world. Out of 10 highest peaks of the world, we have 8 of those. We are 57 years ahead than the English calendar. But in terms of economic development, we are a century behind. We are very rich in our culture and diversity. Having so much potential, we are one of the poorest economy in the world. 20% of Nepalese still lives below the poverty line, which is why every year around 500,000 Nepalese are forced to leave the country as a migrant worker to seek the economic opportunities elsewhere. And every day we receive at least 3 to 4 dead bodies of those people at our international airport. The question is, why? Why is Nepal poor? At Vikalpa, we believe Nepal is poor because we lack economic freedom. We lack economic opportunities. Realizing this, we started Economic Freedom Campaign in 2020 to shift the mainstream political discourse towards the economy. Campaign advocates 4 fundamental principles of economic freedom: freedom to enterprise, rule of law and security of life and property, freedom of choice and competition, and accountable and limited government. So the rights of every Nepalese are respected and people are free to pursue their livelihood and prosper in their own country. We are engaging and educating our people on these core values through various means. We also have designed the promotional materials and aggressively promoting it. And in very short period of time, we have created a very good visibility of the campaign in our region. Now we would like to take this campaign further. We want to reach to the grassroots people and create even a bigger discourses. Viratnagar is the metropolitan city. It's a capital city of eastern region. It is also a political and economic hub of the country. It has 19 administrative wards. It has 19 administrative units, local units. We will select a boy and a girl from each of these 19 administrative units and educate and engage 38 young volunteers to promote the ideas of individual and economic freedom. These volunteers will be from 18 to 24 years of age, who can be manipulated and brainwashed by the opponent's ideas and their ideologies. After a year-long engagement with Vikalpa, these volunteers will be the freedom champions. 12 monthly sessions will be organized, where 38 young volunteers will meet every month in the form of discussion, seminar, workshop, and the planning sessions. These volunteers will also have an opportunity to get involved in other Vikalpa activities where they can learn many things, where they can develop their skills, leadership, capacity, knowledge, skills, everything. We'll also give them the small grant to take initiatives. At least 19 initiatives will be taken by these fellows at their respective places, which will help to create the visibility of the campaign. The campaign will have around 100,000 people reach. And out of 19 local administrative groups, 3 will continue to work for the values of freedom. As we know, the ideas are more powerful than the guns. If we do not teach our youth the value of peace and freedom, somebody else is going to teach them. We need to teach these fellows. We need to develop these fellows, and we need your support to develop these fellows. And we need your support to develop these values because there is hardly anyone to teach our people on these values in our region. We can make this campaign successful because the campaign is already ongoing. And we have very good youth mobilization skill and the network of young people. If we get the support, we are going to invest the money in this way. Thank you. Can I have some water?
Thank you, Basanta, and at exactly 5 minutes, you make my life very easy. Now, our judges will have a chance to ask you some questions, Basanta, and let's kick off your 5-minute time with Fred Young. Fred, do you have a question for Basanta?
You're going to be recruiting 38, at least 19 will be involved, and spend a year with your group as apprentices. After that, you expect them to initiate programs throughout the provinces. How will they finance those initiatives after they finish their 1 year of work with you?
So how are we going to finance them?
Pardon me?
How are we going to finance them?
How are you going to finance them? How will they finance their work after they finish the 1 year with you?
Actually, what we are thinking is that we are going to give them the small grants. So in Biratnagar, so we are going to give them the $250 grant to each of these groups, and then they will organize at least 1 or 2 activities. And then for 3 groups, we are also going to give $1,000 each, and then we'll also give them the mentoring, so they can continue their effort. And other thing is that we can also relate them with other business associations after. We can also relate them with the local policymakers, where they can, where we can work together. So this is what we are thinking right now. And then they can also be the part of other Vikalpa activities regularly. So we will find sources from different other donor agencies also. So when we can create the kind of base, when we can create a kind of visibility, then other people will also be, other agencies will be, they will be willing to work with us. And then at that time we can invest that money to these people.
Linda, do we have a question from you?
I do. Basanta, you're going to choose 2 young people from each of the 19 administrative regions. How are you going to choose them?
Since the beginning, Vikalpa has been working with the young people. So every year we are working with 800, we are reaching to 800 to 1,000 young people. So we have a very good network of young people. So that's why it won't be a problem reaching them. The other thing is that we are planning to open the application, and then we will do the selection. So we will get them through the reference. So the previous participants, the alumni, they will give the reference of those people. And then also we'll find them from the local region. I mean to say that from the local representatives, they can refer them.
Thank you.
Arturo, do you have a question?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Basanta. I have an unusual question for you, which is, can you name me a person, a young person that you have worked with? Give me a name and tell me what was the project or the thing that made that person interesting for you that they were able to accomplish.
Actually, we used to organize this entrepreneur stock program. So one of the guy, returning from Switzerland, so he was thinking to go to Canada. So he was also the part of our program. And then when he listened, the guy speaking, the entrepreneur stock program, the entrepreneur was sharing his story. When he hear him speaking, later he said that I thought to start my own business instead of going Canada. And it is your inspiration. Today I'm here. So now he has got a very good coffee shop. Now he has got a construction business. So he gives the credit to us. So, and we have got some success stories like this. And then definitely in coming days, we can create more success stories like this. His name is Avinayak Malla. I can just say his name.
Thank you.
When your ambassadors of freedom begin their projects, how do you plan to measure their success?
The 38 volunteers who will hold the ideas, who will have the ideas, who will be with us working as an intern in later days. So who will be participating with us. The 38 volunteers will be one measure of success. The 3 groups that we will create in the local area, and then working with us closely, that will be another measure of success. The other thing is that the media mentions, the visual media reach, the articles and the publication that reach to many people, the number of people who are ready to support our cause, the number of merchandising activities that reach to the local level, and then, the discourse that is going to create in the society, local area. So we will measure our success in that way.
Thank you.
Well, with 10 seconds left of the question time, I think that about wraps it up, Basanta. So thank you so much for your pitch.
Thank you.
Next up, our second contestant is Tere Noya of the Center for Economic Renewal, Growth and Excellence, Puerto Rico, pitching her project, Portraits of Prosperity, a Puerto Rican Perspective. Welcome, Tere.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Tere Noya, and tonight I want to talk to you about the power of images to shift mindsets and ignite change. I want to start off by asking you to raise your hands if you've ever Googled images. Right? Almost all of us, right? Now I want to ask you to raise your hands if you've ever Googled images of Puerto Rico. Some of you, huh? Maybe you were planning a vacation or trying to get tickets to the Bad Bunny concert or trying to find the lyrics to Despacito, right? We have all been there, right? So you've seen these images, right? Our Spanish castles, our greenery, our breathtaking beaches, our food, our culture, our warmth. But that does not tell the whole story. Recently, Puerto Rico has been riddled in financial crisis, devastation, and political turmoil. It has been a rough decade for us. And the American citizens who live on the island territory are running low on hope. At Centro Crece, we are banking on the power of images to uplift our people and invite them to envision a thriving and prosperous Puerto Rico, where hard work and entrepreneurship provide opportunities for future generations. We know that images are powerful. They unite us, and they show our very essence. With our project, we are using images to tell the stories of intrepid Puerto Rican entrepreneurs who are determined to build a future in Puerto Rico through their own agency and not moving to Florida. It happens. University and high school students will participate in a photography contest to illustrate the value of entrepreneurship in our communities. We will teach them about economic freedom as a path to prosperity, and will tell the stories of Puerto Ricans determined to build different paths away from dependency and on to self-reliance. Their works will be showcased in a public exhibit, in our social media, and in the press. An additional $25,000 would allow us to transform our exhibit from a stationary one to a traveling one, so we are able to reach people in urban and rural areas all over the island with images that invoke a mindset of hopeful transformation away from pessimistic dependency. Puerto Rican families are yearning for stories of hopeful transformation. They need to view the island as a platform for growth, so their children choose to stay there instead of moving to the mainland. Before I go, I want you to meet Emil. Emil is a smart and confident 11-year-old who chose to open his lemonade business with the help of one of our programs. His successful venture has injected his family and friends with hope for a prosperous Puerto Rico. Emil reminds us that success is contagious. We've all been Emil at some point in our lives. If he can do it, we can too. Please help us spread positivity by telling the stories of people who have chosen to move away from dependency and onto prosperity. And now, sharks, I invite you to jump in the Puerto Rican waters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tere. Judges, let's commence our 5 minutes of questioning. Let's begin with Linda this time. Linda?
Terry, that
Yes.
was a lovely presentation.
Thank you.
It's quite a lot of money. Are these other people who win it, who are selected, are they going to get any prizes?
Yes, they are. They will compete for cash prizes, and they'll also get the incentives of building up their portfolios for either university or career professions and jobs, but they will get cash prizes. It is that type of competition.
Arturo?
In your presentation, I didn't see any money spent on social media. Are you going to have a social media attack?
Yes, we are going to have a social media attack, and our project includes the creation of a digital album of the works that will be promoted through social media, as well as through the exhibit.
Fred?
Do you really believe you can find 50 students who are supportive of entrepreneurship and who are also proficient in photography?
Yes.
And if not, what will you do to provide that proficiency?
That's a good question. We have an entrepreneurship education program whereby we have built very solid and good relationships with both public and private schools around the island. So we already have a network of schools that are very interested in providing this type of opportunity to students. And we think that it will be a great incentive for them to just use their cameras to capture these stories. I'm pretty sure that we can find 50.
Do you plan to have any training?
We're not providing any training. We are providing them with prompts and with a video tutorial on entrepreneurship and economic freedom. The prompts will allow them to go out and seek that value of entrepreneurship. We'll be very specific in explaining to them that it's not so much the picture of the guy in front of his food truck. It's the story behind that guy and that food truck that they need to capture. And what is the value added of that entrepreneur in their community? How have they contributed to making their communities better? So.
Thank you.
Any further questions, judges? Linda?
How are you going to judge the success or otherwise of the project?
Okay, yes, we are going to, one of the measurements is obviously participation. The other one is the amount of people that come visit our exhibit. And if we are able to make it a traveling one, we will take that exhibit to different points of the island so that more people are able to view it and visit it. We will have a visitor login to record the impressions of our visitors in their exhibits. What were they thinking? Have they ever thought about opening a business? And if so, can we help them connect them with startup organizations and people that can help them in that process? So that's really how we're going to measure the amount of people that not only visit us, but that stay in that relationship with us so that we can guide them through the process.
Any final quick questions from our judges?
Yes, could you give us a little bit of sense of what time framework are we talking about? How long will they have to create the exhibition, and then how long will you be running around with the exhibition?
Okay, so we are talking about maybe the project will be about 6 to 8 months. We will have them work in the second semester of our school year. We would start contacting the schools now in February or January so that they are able to go out and get their pictures and all that kind of stuff before May, which is the end of the school year in Puerto Rico. And then we will use the summertime to have that traveling exhibit, have the inauguration exhibit where we announce the winners
And that's
of the
5
contest.
minutes, Terry. Sorry to be that guy, but
That's
thank you
okay.
so much for your time. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Which brings us to our third and final contestant for Think Tank Shark Tank tonight. Danil Lubken, you're up. Danil is from Ukrainian Students for Freedom with his project, Freer Belarus. Danil, welcome to the stage.
My friends, honorable sharks, my name is Daniel Lubkin. I'm here with Ukrainian Students for Freedom. And I would ask all of you to imagine yourself on a plane. A usual plane with not enough place for your legs, with bad, not tasty food, with not comfortable chairs. Nothing really special except one thing. This plane has to land 40 minutes earlier and in other country. The reason for that, as a pilot announced to all of you, is because there is dangerous terrorist on the board. And of course, you are afraid because terrorists in planes usually doesn't end up really good. But this person is not a weapon smuggler. This person is not a drug dealer. This person is not convicted of any serious crime anywhere outside of Belarus. And I bet that all sharks, and I think most of the people in this room, can be accused of his crime. This person is Ron Protasevich. He is a journalist, he is a loving boyfriend, he is a patriot of his own country. His crime was a freedom-loving and freedom-fighting. He was an admin of an anonymous Telegram channel that was speaking the truth about the protest, peaceful protest that broke up in 2020 after a massive falsification in Belarus. These protests were brutally repressed. We have more than 40 people killed, 4,000 politically imprisoned, 10,000 exiles. In a small country like Belarus, these are a huge, huge numbers. So, if you think they're successful, if you think the regime is successful in fighting with freedom movement, if the freedom movement is silent and we don't have any chance to actually overthrow the regime that is already right now there, well, you're wrong. What I have here is a flag that was given to me by people who are still inside Belarus for 2 weeks ago, with one actually reason: go and find help for them. Artur, can you hold it for me, please? It's for you. Thank you. With that in mind, we want to create a project that's called Freer Belarus. On the first stage, from more than 200 applications, we'll select only 50 people to go for 1 month in-depth education about freedom and tools for fight for it. On a second stage, only 20 people from these 50 will be selected to go to Ukraine and have actually on the ground 3 days in-depth studying about freedom, economics, politics, and philosophy. And in the third part, only 3 people from these 20 will be selected to have the paid internship in our partner programs. The main idea of this internship is to prepare these people to draft a new vision of free Belarus with free people and free markets. It is important to underline that all our program is actually based on Atlas Network vision. Coach, it's really simple. We have coaching through all out our 3 stages because education and being educated and educating other people is part of all 3 stages. Compete, well, you have 200 applications, 50 people, then 20, then 3. Obviously, there's a huge competition in the end. And celebrate. In the last stage, the people who will prepare the report will publish it. And if they're okay, their real names will be stated as authors. And I bet that most people in this room will hear more about new freedom fighters from Belarus. Finally, what is our, as Sharks would say, market value? What is our killer feature? Well, the thing is, we have 3 components that make Ukrainian Students for Freedom our unique organization to conduct such program. Third thing, we have experience because we already have had a leadership program, Belarus, generously sponsored by Atlas Network for more than 300 people with other ideas, but it was really greatly organized. Secondly, we have enough people to actually manage this program. And thirdly, which is much more important, we have trust of these people. They trust us, already trusted us with flags, with their real names, with their addresses. We're not KGB crooks, we're freedom fighters as they are, and we will help them to be more effective and more efficient. We need more people like Roman Protasevich, but not in prison, outside of it, who will draft a better vision of Belarus, who will change Belarus in the future. Let's make a freer Belarus together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danil. Your 5 minutes of questions with the judges can begin now. Arturo, why don't you kick us off?
That was a very good, impressive, succinct presentation. So, excuse me a second.
No worries.
So, you already have had experience training people like this. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what you think is going to be an objective that they can actually meet at the end of the training?
An intellectual what?
What will be an objective? Will they have a project or a program or something at the end of the training that they'll want to complete afterwards?
Yeah, so thank you so much for your question. So the thing is, what we had in our leadership program before, alumnus of a program actually starting their own organization. Right now, I think the next year you will hear about Ayn Rand Center Belarus, which will start by our alumnus. And there will be more organization which is starting by people who are inside and both exiled outside of Belarus from our previous programs. I wouldn't say we actually aim to have a specific target of number of organized events or something like that. Our idea is to give them tools and to equip them with enough tools so they will use it in a proper way. I wouldn't say like 6 years ago, the Telegram channel that Roman was the head of would be such an effective tool of mobilizing actually tens of thousands of people on the streets. So I think these people will find something much more innovative than we actually can think of. Our idea is to equip them with these tools and to actually, let them be free in what they actually want to do with these ideas. So that's our approach.
Fred, a question from you?
Following up on that, what you're going to do with that vision, how will you deal with the inevitable repression that you're going to find from Belarus or their agents?
It's a really good question. So first of all, as you may see, we try to frame our program in a really safe way. So for example, 50 people selected will go through interviews and due diligence, because I would say I have received threats from at KGB Gov Belarus already. So I know how to speak with KGB agents, and it's not really a pleasant thing to have. So we will try to cut it off by having security measures on the selection, then when we have a conference, and then in the end of the day, so there will not be a threat for them per se. But when they start doing some projects, actually, and we have experience of such projects in Belarus, it can be conducted in a safe way. I mean, people who are choosing to fight for freedom inevitably will end up in opposition to a regime. But the thing is, our idea is to equip them enough so we'll be smart enough to actually maneuver as long as possible, and to stay in a safe zone. And we will help them as long as we can with that as well. We're not interested, to collect people, say, hey, KGB, there's the folks you should arrest, and then throw them into the wilderness. No. What our idea is to do it in the safest way, and then in the end of the day, inform them that, and they already will know that, but inform them of the consequences of their action. And I think you'll still find people who will be willing to fight for freedom. I believe in that, really do.
Linda, a question from you.
How would you select? There must be dozens of students in Belarus who'd love to come. What will your selection process be?
Yeah, so thank you so much for this question. So our selection process will be based on our previous experience. What we had in our previous experience, we were having 100 applications, then have just Google form and everything would go on the program. On this one, we'll go through interview phase, and then after interview phase, due diligence phase, we're going to look through their profiles, ask for recommendations from other people who we know and trust, so not to actually have someone from outside inside the program. So this is the idea. We have application form, then interview, and then due diligence phase when we select actually people based on the recommendations from other folks we know. For example, Yaroslav Romanchuk will help us with that, who is a really important freedom fighter in Belarus. Maybe some of you in this room already met him, so yeah.
Any final brief questions for Daniil?
Yeah.
What ages are we talking about?
Agents. Yeah, so mainly speaking, Belarus, the main body of surveillance is still called KGB, literally. They have it still.
Now, how old are the candidates?
Ah, ages. I heard agents, sorry, paranoia. We aiming from 18 to 35, from agents.
And on that note, Daniil, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking our esteemed judges as well as our contestants tonight, Daniil, Basanta and Terem. I will shortly be escorting our judges to a super secret location for careful deliberation and a decision of the winner. But now it is time to break for our meal, and we will be back with the program shortly. For our virtual audience, we'll be taking a break and be back soon.
It says here in the notes, I get to tell you about the winner of the Think Tank Shark Tank competition. Let's invite to the stage to give a couple minutes of remarks Daniil Lubken for the Free Belarus Project of Ukrainian Students for Freedom, the winner of the 2021 Think Tank Shark Tank competition.
Well, this speech is going to be much worse prepared than previous one because you don't usually rehearse winning speeches, just in case not to get upset. So the thing is that I believe that I need to have some kind of announcement. And if everything's going to be okay next year with visa center and embassies, I can assure you that we will see more people from Belarus coming to these events and participating in freedom movements. I can assure you with that for 100%. And the other thing we discussed with other participants of Think Tank Shark Tank, that sometimes you sit on a table before your screen, it's not really happening, you just do really monotonous work, not really living a good life. But when you come together to this room, when you see these people, these bright ideas, you see there's something at stake. You see that we're doing a great job actually improving human lives. Frederick Bastiat wrote a lot of really good thoughts, and one of them, something what is seen and unseen. What we do is a wonderful unseen magic of improving people's lives, fighting for their freedom and fighting for their future. Thank you so much.